like actual sunlight and no artificial light to film ever. This feels so clear in HD. Who needs a Canon camera, right? I'm actually so proud of this setup right now. Can we just let me show you. This is my film stand. Because I have no film stand. Hi guys, I haven't filmed in a while. Actually no, that's not true. I just filmed like a week ago when the supplement prompts came out. I actually didn't want to film until I went back to Shanghai. I'm still in Singapore, but you know, it was such a nice day. I wasn't really doing anything. I thought I would do something productive with my life, and so I started filming. And it occurred to me, hey, this is the time, exactly the time almost, last year where I was prepping for my UCHICAGO interview at UCHICAGO. So I have the thumbnail ready, but I haven't shot the video yet because I had the idea a couple months ago actually, and I was like, why not shoot that video? I know what you're thinking. Where's that video? Like that video? That video I forgot to shoot. I was absolutely stressed out and I completely forgot about it, and then I checked the scores and I was like, should I film another video? I was like, oh no, never mind. Our 2 reaction videos on my channels, and IB results came out very recently. I see videos on YouTube and I'm like, girl, they fast. How did you? I haven't even gotten over. My server error is still there and your video has uploaded. I'll give you guys this. It wasn't the score I wanted, but I'm not gonna be like a 学表 and say that it was a bad score because I know it's a good score. 学表, by the way, is...
Oh my god, I totally screwed up on this exam.
Okay. What did you get?
Oh my god, don't even let me start. I could have totally gotten like a 98, but instead I got a 96. Can you believe it?
That person. I will, I guess, ultimately review my IB score on this channel. Just gotta give me... I'm not over it yet. I'm not over it yet. I still don't want to see that number in my head yet, so... This is not, it's not even clickbait, it's not even in the title, it's just, yeah, I guess it's kind of like a cliffhanger. Back to the actual video. What happened in my UCHICAGO interview? Let me start off with a bit of background. I was not in Chicago specially for this interview. I don't recommend you doing that. I live in Shanghai, so for me to fly all the way to Chicago, like United States, just for an interview, albeit my dream school, is still kind of ridiculous, both like financially, just time-wise. It's just not a smart thing to do. However, if you are in the US, that's probably something you want to consider. But I would still highly recommend having like an alternate purpose for being in the city other than that interview. So for me, I went to GYALS, I went to the Google office, we went to a couple of fun places. Bottom line, I was in Chicago for another purpose, and I thought I would drop by the university to do an interview. So I booked it online at this website. It's very, very simple. You just kind of fill in your information, you book a time, and then you go there. I can see the comments already. I have been informed that the on-campus interview for UCHICAGO have been canceled this year, or maybe just for all the years in the future, and instead it's going to be like a video format. I think it's like a 2-minute video. I didn't do that myself, so I can't give you any concrete advice on how to do it. I will show you guys how I would have done it if I had to do it, but I still think this video is helpful because it does kind of give you insight into what the university asks you. Yeah, so just keep watching, it got you. Also, I didn't shoot the video at 3 a.m, but I'm editing it at 3 a.m. So we went there early, around 15 to 30 minutes, and then we sat down in the chair, waited there for a couple of while, and this very nice lady called us up. She was like, hi, are you Tan Xuan Ru? I was like, yes. And she was like, are you here for the interview? I was like, yes. And she was like, okay, please wait another 5 to 10 minutes, we'll be with you soon. And I was like, okay. So I sat down. We waited there for a while, and this very nice lady, her name is Katie, or Katie, and she comes up and she's like, hi, I'll be your interviewer today, follow me please. And so I, go off with her, I leave my bag there, and I go off with her into this like very, very small interview room. It's actually kind of tiny. From like this wall, you can kind of tell, to like 2 more of these walls, that's about the length, but then it's only like half the size of this room. So I think it's about the width of this bed, which is like a queen bed. It's about that width. It's a very narrow room. I don't know exactly why it's there, but anyhow, so there was one very small coffee table and 2 chairs. She sat in the inner corner and I sat outside, and then we just kind of began. The interview technically started when we first met, which was in the hall, and then we walked to the room, firm handshake, and then she asked me, oh, what are you doing in Chicago? And I was like, oh, I'm actually actually here for the summer camp. It's called GYALS, and then you go into a little bit of detail. I talked maybe for about a minute and a half explaining what GYALS was and all of that, and then she asked me, okay, that's pretty cool. What was like your favorite part of it, or like what did you guys learn about it? I told her, I was like, oh, we got to meet the Consul General of South Africa, and that was amazing, and we got to meet all these amazing women in the city and like STEM fields and managing and arts and politics, etc. And so I kind of like raved about it a little bit. One thing I noticed is that she spoke very quickly, so she would be speaking faster than I am right now. So if I were to mimic her speed, it would be something like this. She will literally just go on, and I could definitely catch her because I do debate and I've heard people speak a lot faster than that, but it still was pretty amazing. Yeah. So I increased my speed to kind of like match hers because I didn't want that awkward pause where she had to wait for me to finish speaking. So I did increase my speed, and then we kind of transitioned into stuff about IB, and she asked me, oh, well, you know, what's your favorite subject at school? And I told her kind of like a wishy-washy answer that gave me more leeway to explain. I said, oh, I like English and economics, and I told her why I like English, and I told her why I like economics, and then she asked, oh, what's your least favorite subject at school? And I said, well, I don't really have a least favorite subject, but if I really had to pick, it would probably be one of the two again, and I gave her very good reasons why. I said, in my English class, we were trying this experimental new method of teaching, and even though I really liked it, I wasn't sure that it was benefiting the maximum amount of people in our class. And she also shared her views on her like high school classes, and so it was really like a conversation. She's, I believe, a senior, and she's majoring in, I think it's history and gender studies, and so I got very excited because I just finished a camp about basically like politics, gender studies, leadership, all of that, and then she transitioned and asked me, what are some things you like about your school? What are some things you don't like about your school? And so I was very frank with her. I told her things I liked about my school was the environment. We have little to like very little, I think, like social ostracism and like bullying, at least I think incomparable to like the American types. I get low-key culture shock when I go visit like American public schools where I have some friends at, and the atmosphere is just it's quite tense. There's a lot of like social hierarchy. I don't really feel that in my school, at least, or maybe I'm just completely oblivious, but I don't really feel that tension. The tension is definitely more academic, and so I listed that as an advantage and also kind of like a disadvantage of my school. We didn't have that much focus on sports. Now there is, but when I was there, what am I talking about? I was there 2 months ago. Point being, I outlined basically my thoughts about the school, and then she asked me, as you know, president of the student body, as president of student government, ASB, did you ever, you know, try to do something about that, etc., etc. So I did tell her very frankly that the ASB in our school is not in a position to change school rules or change school regulations. It's not that we were powerless or like, you know, like a figurehead. It was just more that our roles were focused on other regions, like event organizing, which take up a significant amount of time. And she asked me, oh, then what are, you know, your aspirations in your school, etc. And I told her, like, if I could go back and do that, what I would do, etc. Oh, she asked me what was my greatest lesson, I think, from Model United Nations, because I was president of MUN, at least it says so on my resume, and then she asked me about that, and I was like, oh, absolutely. It was a really cliche answer. First of all, I hate giving cliche answers, but I couldn't think of anything else. I said it was to meet the new people. It was to meet different people with absolutely radically different ideas, and try to increase my data bank so I could play devil's advocate more often. And she said, okay, tell me more about that. And I did. I told her that being, you know, coming from like a debating background, going into MUN, if I could self-assess, I'm very good at presenting different opinions. But the problem with that is that I don't really have an opinion on a lot of like political stances or political views or sensitive issues, because the minute I say something, I know there's going to be like a rebuttal and then all of that. So I refrain myself from saying that. But I value the inquisitivity, and I want to know, get to the bottom of it, and I want to form an opinion. And then I kind of transitioned into like more UCHICAGO related stuff. So she asked, oh, how did you find UChicago? Why UChicago? And of course, this is the question that you have to prepare. So I told her the story about how I found UChicago and why I absolutely fell in love with it, which is 100% true, by the way, and how I ended up here, and how I met all of these amazing people during the camp, because I was just going around telling everybody, hi, my dream school is UChicago. I'm going to the interview in a couple of days. Any tips? And she was like, hey, I graduated from UChicago, and he was like, oh, hey, I did my postgrad there, etc. So I met all of these amazing people. I got to listen to their stories, and so when I talked to her, I think she could feel my genuine like excitement and energy, because I was just talking to these people 1 day, 2 days ago, and here I am, you know, doing my college admissions interview. So it was pretty cool at that point. And then our conversation transitioned into a more serious part, which was when we talked more about politics and current affairs. I don't think this is going to be in everyone's interview. I think it was just like this because she was a history and gender double major, and I obviously expressed an interest in political science from my profile.
Okay, pause. I completely forgot the fact that at this point of time, I didn't submit my resume, I didn't submit like my profile or anything online. I went up to go check, and I think the only things that were on there were my like undecided major, and I did put like political science, and then I put economics, and then I put interdisciplinary studies in the humanities, I think. So she didn't know anything about like my MEon presidency or my ASB presidency and all of that. I volunteered that information because she didn't have access to my resume. So this conversation, the reason why she asked me all of these things was very much because I steered it that way. You're not going to be asked on it. You do, like, not everybody has to answer these questions. I have a friend who did the interview almost the exact same time as I did, and we had almost completely different interviews. So I got so many political questions because I steered it in that direction. So don't worry about, you know, oh my god, what if I don't know about current affairs, and now you're freaking out, now I have to go read all these things. You don't. Okay, I did that because I wanted to go that direction, because I did do that work and I do that work. But if you do that, if you don't, chill. All will be fine. It's 4. I'm so done.
That whole segment actually started with her asking, oh, do you have any questions to ask me? And I actually did, so I asked like 7 questions. It was a lot of questions. It was a long interview, which is good. I think I lasted about like 56 minutes. My aunt actually had a timer, and she said I was 53 minutes, but she didn't record the first bit because she started timing like after I went in for a couple of minutes. She said roughly around 55 minutes, which is good. Anyhow, so I asked her, I don't remember all the questions I asked her, but the ones that I do have written down are, what is the letter about? The UChicago letter. If you don't know what the UChicago letter is and you want to apply to UChicago, you should probably do some research. I'm not qualified to explain to you what it is. Definitely look it up, but essentially it was a rather controversial letter written by the dean, but was set to represent the administrative's ideas about college safe spaces. And long story short, UChicago is not very pro college safe spaces. Now, I asked her about that statement. I asked her if the letter was actually, you know, representative of the administration's beliefs, and what is the relationship between like UChicago's beliefs and the administrator's beliefs, and how is that kind of reconciled? Because I was very curious, and so she gave me an amazing answer. It was actually quite long, and I even interrupted her at times to ask her to clarify about something. And I think I definitely demonstrated a lot of like inquisitivity, because the next question I asked then was about does UChicago think that like exposing its students to all different types of political beliefs, even if it goes against their own, etc. So that was kind of like a given question. I mean, the answer I think would be yes, they do believe in that. But I think it showed that I was listening very closely to her answer, not just, you know, nodding and opening your eyes wider and stuff. And yeah, after that we discussed, I asked her a couple more questions. It basically a lot of politics centered stuff, but it doesn't have to be that way. That overall was my interview. It went by so fast. It was like she walked me out, and you know, I said bye to her, and then I went with my aunt, and then we walked outside. And after we walked outside, I took the picture on the thumbnail, and yeah, that was about it. We toured around the place, and then we left the campus, and we went to hunt for ice cream. and then we found insomnia cookies instead, and that was really cool. I don't have an outro yet. But yeah, if you enjoyed this video, go look at some of my other videos. I post about college and studies and like the occasional vacation vlog. Yeah.